Recently, we lost Robin Williams, an outstanding comedian who suffered a great deal. Let's make sure that suicides like this won't happen to anyone close to us. If you know anybody who may be depressed and are suffering like Robin Williams did, get them help. Call this number, 1-800-273-8255. That is the number of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The call is free and confidential and will be answered by a trained counselor at a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help. And we're back in the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. Going to do things a little differently in this half hour. I'm going to push the weather, since we got weather coming up at 3:15 Central Time. I'm going to skip the weather at this half hour. And as I said before, I love doing that. Make a log, but sometimes I do switch things around right at the last minute. It's called thinking at your feet. Or a lot of people will say, jump in and do something different, or I follow the log, but I don't always follow the log. I might always make last-minute decisions, which makes the show more interesting. But usually the last show I use this log for, well then, what I usually do then is I do the log to a T. I just sit there and make some adjustments, know where I have to do it, and I love doing it this way. I look over the program log, I'll say, well, okay, I need to make some adjustments here, some time adjustments here, and fix things up. So sometimes I have to do that. But we're still going to do news and comment, top of the hour. We got that coming up here in about 4 minutes, but we're going to postpone weather for a little bit, and we'll do that weather coming up. Weather on the 5s again. Coming up at 3:15 Central Time, and got a lot of stuff coming up in this half hour anyway, including giving you some current temps across the country and stuff like that. So we're going to do that coming up in the next half hour here on GJRB Online, and we might even mention your hometown. So keep it here, because what I always do is I usually pick some hometowns instead of going to major cities. I'll pick some hometowns. It's kind of cool that way, and I kind of like doing that. So that people who may be listening in, let's say, Podunk, they get to hear their temperature, okay, right here on GJRB. Anyway, it just makes it more so that you can listen to the program here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker. And we'll do a lot of stuff like that, and it's been a whole hoot of a lot of fun here. So join me here, Gary J. Russen program here on GJRB Online. And here's what I do is I mark the log in pencil so I can erase stuff and move things around, and I reprint them anyway. So anyway, coming up to 3 o'clock Central, and you got Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. Glad you could be aboard with me today, and got a lot coming up. So keep it here. The return of the Gary Russen program after about 2 months off the air. Really what happened was the last computer we had was running very heavy. I was making a lot of noise, and really was wondering about it because one of the fans apparently was gone. Had about an inch of dust bunnies on the thing, and what happened is it blocked the cool air from going in from the fan, and it overheated and fried the motherboard is what happened. And we were off the air for at least, 2 weeks? No. Well, counting the fact that I was putting the show together, and I delayed it several times, as you remember straight. We were supposed to go on the 27th, and then that got pulled. We were supposed to go on the 11th. That got pulled. And so I finally pushed it to the 18th, which is today, and we finally made it. And the Gary Russen program is back on the air, and I am glad to be back in the full swing of things again here on GJRB. Well, coming up to about 2:59 Central Time, 10 seconds to the hour of 3 o'clock. Usually have a time tone here. I didn't fix that yet. But, well, let's just leave it at that. Didn't get around to getting that done. Too many things to do before getting the show done. And sometimes if something doesn't get done, it doesn't go on the air. It's just that simple. So sometimes the program log gets changed, and I'll, try it again on the next show. And that's what I do. And coming up, I'll give you our program schedule for the rest of the month. That's coming up a little later on here on the Gary Russen program here on GJRB. But right now, we're coming up to the top of 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock in the East, and it is now 1 o'clock Pacific on GJRB. From America's Heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. That's it. My headphones fell apart once again, and it makes it hard because, I don't know, these cheap headphones I have are something else, I gotta tell you. But here's some of the stories we're going to cover for you in this half hour. And we got some late-breaking stuff and some additional stories we're going to be talking about here on GJRB. Like I said before, we're going to start off with some of the stuff we already have and put it together here. First off, that meteor shower, we'll talk about that. And I'm going to show you a video of that on our video version of this program next Tuesday. And we'll be talking about that. Also online for stories this afternoon include Bo Bergdahl. Bo Bergdahl was who abandoned his post back in, a couple years ago. His court-martial trial has been put on hold till 2017. Talk about that. Also, coming up, Caitlyn Jenner said wants to transform back to a man. Yeah, he's going to go back. I found out he's made an ugly woman. Yeah. Anyway, also, Prince's last days. We'll be talking about that. Also, some famous birthdays today. We'll get into that as well. That's all coming up on News and Comment right here on GJRB. Be right back. Watch, pray, for we not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy, New World Order, terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pest, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, end-time headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. The weird, the strange, the bizarre, way out fun, way out there. Another show coming soon on GJRB Online. And we're back on GJRB. Gary J. Russen with you, and this is News and Comments. And welcome back to it. Start off with the story about Bo Bergdahl. Remember a couple years ago we did a story here on this station, right here on the Gary Russen program. We talked about how he abandoned his post in Afghanistan. And now they're putting all this stuff saying that he's a psycho, he's some kind of nut. Bergdahl, he's now 30 years old. And the judge decided Tuesday to delay his trial until he was supposed to have the court-martial trial in August. They pushed it up to February 2017. because they want to do is they're talking about there's some disputes going on over the defense. So disputes going on a defense team to access classified documents. They want to classify classified documents. Anyway, you have to wonder about this trial because if they could delay this even more and push this up even more, what's the point? I mean, this is the thing that's been going on forever. They pulled this thing and they pulled this thing and they had this trial going on, and basically I think that it's gone a little too long here, and I guess the deliberations, just like the trial in Pittsburgh, the Wolf sisters, I don't know. I used to always say that detectives like to get the glory of being the hero and arresting the man who they say did the crime. But they don't do further research. They just point and accuse and, big time slap the cuffs off somebody and they've been wrongly arrested. Happens too many times. And Bo Bergdahl, though, he is guilty. This whole Afghanistan thing, okay? He left his post and he went to the other side. Okay? Now, this carries a life imprisonment for leaving his post. A life imprisonment. He spends the rest of his life in jail. It's because he left his post. Seriously. Because he left his post, he has to spend the rest of his life in prison. Because of that. And deserves it. He went and did this. And wow. I would think that by now they would get their act together, but they're arguing the defense. They want to get it cleared up. I guess they want to. I don't know what they're doing, but they're defense guys, so they're postponing it until February 2017. Wow. All right, another story interesting. Phil Robertson, he's the one who is the Duck Dynasty guy. Says he's got a novel idea. Said men should use the men's restroom and the women should use the women's restroom. Christian matriarch of the A&E's Duck Dynasty franchise sent an email to many conservatives over the past weekend in conjunction with the Citizens United organization behind the anti-Hillary Clinton documentary, Hillary the Movie. Email comes North Carolina to become a battleground for transgender rights because of the House Bill 2, known as HB 2, which bans people from using public restrooms who do not correspond with their biological sex. And the South has done this. And a lot of the pop artists, a lot of them have decided not, they had concerts scheduled in a lot of these southern states. And they decided to cancel them. Plain out and simple, they just decided to call them off. And, wow. That's what they do. It's pretty much that. They decided that if you feel like a woman, you should go in the woman's washroom. This is what if a man feels that way. Totally ridiculous. Okay, and the argument we had yesterday, whether an argument, I guess it could have been, but I think what really, really strikes me, it kind of gets me mad sometimes, and I know I'm guilty of this. Christian, I have a tendency to attack been doing that too much. And yesterday was one of those things, and I'm going to be talking about that as I do my scroll through social media coming up. Be talking about that. It was just an attack over this whole thing, and about the whole bird dog thing, and it also goes to Caitlyn Jenner or Bruce Jenner, whoever you want to call him, he, she, it, whatever. Proving another point again, because he went into the woman's washroom because he's Caitlyn Jenner. Okay. Now, I'm a man, folks. Male, man, I go to a men's room. Okay? That's just it. I go to a men's room. That's what it's about. You go to the men's room. Because you're a man. Woman goes to the woman's room. Now, the situation is this. The big story is that I'm going to talk about this coming up, is the argument about if your daughter, granddaughter, what have you, goes into a woman's room, a lady's room, and there's a man in there, a perverted sex offender. What are you going to do to this guy if he starts to attack your family members with, I'm saying? So we kind of get into that. So that's coming up in Scroll for Social Media. That's coming up here in just a little bit on GJRB. This is News and Comment on the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker. We go to page 2. Imagine one day to tune around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. I take nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land. This summer is going to be hot with the GJRB Freestyle Summer. Longer broadcast days, added shows, and more music days. I'll be on location with the GJRB Bike for a Man on the Street segment, asking the people of Clinton questions and getting opinions on current news events. The GJRB schedule will change frequently, so watch for the GJRB Schedule Update podcast on the Spreaker public site. Freestyle Summer starts in June on GJRB. Watch, pray, for we not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy, New World Order, terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pest, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, end-time headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. For 1 year, the wait is over. Now join Pastor Ron Johnston and a panel of men and women to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. In this world of chaos and upheaval, this is the program that puts it all into perspective. How will we survive? God only knows. So trust Him and listen to the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast or live every third Friday at 11 a.m. on GJRB. Okay, back to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online here on Spreaker, and glad you could be aboard with me today, and glad you could be with me as our brand new show starts back up for the new season of GJRB, and you just heard it, our summer event, Freestyle Summer. Now, I'll explain to you as we go along the show about what that means, and it barely says the same thing. And I'm going to do weather in the news coming up. We got that story on some really bad storms and stuff. We're going to get into that. I had the Weather Channel on here. Now let's see if I can go back. Okay, here we are. And see here. We had some really bad storms, so we're going to do, remember this? We're going to do, let's do it right now. Let's do weather in the news. And we're going to do weather on the 5s here, coming up in about maybe 10 minutes. Well, in our next, when we come back out of the break. Okay, we're going to do the weather on the 5s coming out of the break about 25 till, because I wasn't ready yet for that. And I'm also going to move sports page a little later on, too, as well, as we continue news and comment. Remember, Gary J's news and comment continues throughout the remainder of our semi-freestyle edition of the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online on Spreaker. So just to let you know, that's what we do here. And, the return back show is always going to be a little rusty because I've been off the air for well over 2 months. So, things are going to get a little rusty here. And I was going to give you the national temperatures locally in your hometown, like Podunk, like I said before. Can't do that today. For some apparent reason, my Weather Nation on my Roku box not working. It's going in, but then it's going back out. So, for some apparent reason, I'm not getting it. So I'm going to go ahead and postpone that, and we'll do that on the next show. No local temperatures. Okay, no local temperatures at this time. So I will make sure I get that for you on the next edition of the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online. We'll do that feature. And, of course, we'll have our manner of opinion. Our 2 questions. The first one is, as I said before, we're going to talk about that when we get to scroll through social media. And as a matter of fact, I think after this break, you know what I'm going to do, coming up after this break, and after we finish out here, I'm going to go off the log, and we're going to start our nonstop talk early. I'm going to open up the lines. I'm going to take some phone calls. We're going to see what people out there think. What's so racist about the American flag? What's so racist about it? Somebody explain to me this stuff, because I don't get it. What is so racist about the American flag? Give me a call on that. Area code 563-613-4260. Before we went into a hiatus, remember I had Skype. I don't have that up yet. I think I still have it on this computer. I'm not sure. I haven't really loaded it. And quite frankly, I haven't really dealt with it. So I don't really have Skype at this point. So I will let you know when I bring Skype back. I haven't got calls on that anyway. It hasn't been any big deal, so I really haven't really worried about it. I don't care if I have Skype or not, because I really, like I said, I haven't gotten calls on it, and I've been getting some women bothering me on it coming up, and really, I'm a married man, and I do not do that stuff. This Skype is for this radio show, to get phone calls, to get people motivated to call the program, to be able to get through with this. So that is the reason why I am going to put Skype on hold for a little bit, and I'll work on that one for the next couple of shows. So just to let you know about that. So Skype is kind of off for a while for that reason, because I just felt it wasn't a point to have it. And so I'm doing that. No Skype. Okay. All right. You got the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online on Spreaker. We got a lot going on, so we're going to be getting into. We're going to be going into a break pretty soon. So we're going here in about 5 minutes. We'll be going into a break. About 5 minutes or so, and at that point, I'm going to take that program break, and then about 25 minutes to the hour, or in around there when we get back, I'm going to do a non-stop talk segment all the way up to about 4 o'clock. We'll take the 4 o'clock break, and then 4:30, and then between 4:30 and 5:30, about 4:35 and around there, I'll be taking another program break around there and wrapping up the show. But I'm going to get a program schedule, but I'm going to start doing nonstop talk after this next break. Okay, so just to let you know about that, we're doing nonstop talk after this next break here on GJRB, and we'll discuss a lot of stuff. So hang in there. You want to be part of the show? It's GJRB Online. Gary J. Russen, want to give me a call on that? We're going to have that line opened. You're going to be able to take phone calls. We're going to talk to you about stuff. And we'll do that. So stay with me. The Gary Russen program back on the air, finally, after 2 months. And glad to be back and more programming. And by the way, next week, next Wednesday, I'm going to be recording our GJRB Schedule Update podcast and giving you the full program schedule. And simultaneously, I'll be giving you a live stream on our GJRB YouTube channel. And you'll get to see the schedule live. And then that will be available on the GJRB YouTube channel for about a month or so. A couple of months, we'll keep them up. And you can see our program schedule. And I'll post it all over Facebook, Twitter, Google+. And you'll get to see the full program schedule sitting there. And you'll have an idea of what programs are coming up on the air here on GJRB. So you want to be watching your GJRB public site on Spreaker and keeping an eye on it. And we're going to do that. So stay with me. The Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. Glad you could be with us. And you can call in, be part of the program. Area code 563-613-4260. We'll do weather news, weather on the fives, and all that good stuff coming up. So stay with me as we continue the Gary Russen program here on GJRB. As a matter of fact, while I do this, I want to, we overdue on the scroll for social media, so I'm going to get started on that. So let's do that right now. Yeah. And now, let's scroll through social media. Okay, we're going to do that right now, and doing that, as I always do, starting off with Facebook. And I was doing some of the news stories, and we're like, well, why don't we do the weather news that we said we were going to do for a while until we run out? Because we got about maybe 2 minutes, 7 seconds left. So I thought we'll use that opportunity to do that. So it's time to do weather news real quick. Feet of snow in the Cascades, the reason for some first heavy snowfall in the Midwest. Winter Storm Draco. Really? You're kidding me, right? Get the details. This is from a Weather Channel. They're looking at a potential low pressure system, which is situated west. There's a big low there. This is according to the Weather Channel. Does not exist. Have to wonder about that story then. Okay, I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to skip that. You got to be kidding. Okay, here's this morning. The Weather Channel announced the birth of StormCon. Now they got a new thing now, the TorCon. Adverse weather conditions, folks. Let's see what other ones. Yeah, that story didn't show up. I wonder why. All right, let's see what else here. I wanted to see if there's any more weather news. I'm going to pull up that weather news I had earlier because I'm not getting the story that I wanted here. I'm going to go back into Weather Channel again. Tell you what, I'm going to look for that stuff later because I think it's time for me to take my station break because we're running down to 23 seconds. So I'll be right back. More of the Gary Russen program continues on GJRB in just a little while. So hang in there. Got more good stuff, more I got Prince bumper music coming up. So stay with me. We'll be right back on GJRB.